All right. Hey, Quants. Today will be another chart day. I might hold off on doing some charts. I was doing a little bit of analysis over the weekend on my own YouTube content, and not surprisingly enough, the content where I usually put out video streams, well, not video, content where I go over the charts has not been that popular. I'm not that surprised about it. Most of the time I was doing that just to give me something to talk about on a regular basis while getting a little bit more comfortable talking to the camera. And so I've mentioned this in the past that I would try to shift my focus to doing more things that are more with my specific skill set or unique skill set, which is developing code, likely in the context of writing some Pine script. And then in the past, I've also shared multiple things that I've built or released, and those videos all tend to do much better. And so I'm wondering if I should just put something out here where I have a tag that's easy for people to miss. I mean, since I know people aren't going to generally listen to those videos, but I might also, just in terms of not watering the content down, stop producing some of those videos altogether. If you guys are following or watching or listening to that kind of stuff, let me know what you guys think on that. Last Friday, I mentioned that I put up the email list, and so on Quant Alchemy. So if you want to get a little bit more up to date with Gann and astrology type things, I will probably refine the content a little bit more, but it is live now, and I do put it out every day. And so currently, and I'll probably continue to do that unless I get some feedback about changing it. The reads are quite quick, and so it shouldn't be a big part of your day if you're interested in getting the content. And that's kind of the idea, is just getting a little bit of information every day that will help maybe improve or give you some different insights that are unique to what other people are getting or providing. And so market insights to your inbox. You got the email here. This is on the Quant Alchemy website. You can also just come and read these without getting the email if you don't want to get the email. And so you can come here and you'll see that I've already put out a number of these since I started collecting emails for this, and then publishing the content. And you'll see there's a little estimate about how long it's going to take you to read one of these. It's gotten a little bit longer on average because some of the content was missing that I wanted to include, and so I've started including that. But you can come in here and see what it looks like. This is the latest one, so they all generally look about the same. I've structured them that way. And so we'll have basically S&P, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then some of the other top assets will be included in that. And it just gives you a little bit of detail on that, some financial news. And so this might be a good way to stay up on recent news. I get so many different information from so much different news resources. That a lot of this, a lot of this just bleeds in with all the other stuff that I've been gathering. And then the Gann seasonal dates, these are only going to come up once in a while, but I do put it in there every time. And it's just kind of an earmark that, hey, there is some dates coming up, and when there's nothing going on, it will kind of illustrate that just by, hey, there's nothing going on. These are the future dates that we're looking for. But when there is dates like the spring equinox, there'll be a lot more detail here for this. And then planetary aspects. So this just kind of ties in the astrology. These are specific astrological aspects that are occurring. They're not necessarily Gann related astrological aspects. Those will usually be tied in with the Gann seasonal dates, and then down maybe in the conclusion. So Gann astrology lessons. This is one of the pieces that I added because it was missing. I noticed in the content, and so basically this is intended to be a unique aspect that you to help you learn and myself learn about Gann and astrology things moving forward every day. So these should generally be unique. The latter example is interesting, but it's not the way that I intended that to be formatted. So this will probably change in the future, but this general Gann astrology lesson will stick. And then a week ahead, and this kind of is a rolling week. So as the week progresses, it'll, chop off Monday and then start including the next weeks as we get closer to the end of the week, and then the closing kind of conclusion of what we're looking at here in the context of Gann and that. So That is what they look like. Again, you can come and just read them here if you would like. If not, if you would like to subscribe, you can also just subscribe and get them in your email inbox. Then you don't have to come here. And so I just wanted to make sure that I shared that a little bit. And so I am, as I mentioned, I am going to jump into the charts a little bit today, but I think the more important thing that I wanted to cover today is this. And so if you wanted, I'll probably title the video as such. So if you've got this information and that's all you care about, peace out. Otherwise, I am going to do a real quick chart review here. So that is not the one that I wanted. Let's see. Where was I at? Was it? And so economic calendar, I didn't refresh this page, so I probably need to make sure I'm on the right page. So yeah, nothing. Just wanted to take a quick look at the week. Again, you could take a look at what the week ahead has in the newsletter, but I still wanted to take a look at this and see what was there. And then I think now, since these will take a second to refresh, make sure I'm looking at the right one. Yep. And so we did get a strong bounce on the S&P, which is what we're on. That's just where I left off last time, so that's what we're looking at now. Yeah, everything here is still looking pretty good. I mean, I think what we're waiting for, I mentioned this last time, is we're kind of setting at this resistance area now, seeing if this is going to turn into support or if it's going to hold as resistance. The master strategy, everything is looking good from that perspective. The only potential downside is that we have the stochastic high, the knife's already peaked, and so we could get some sideways action here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that, considering it looks like we're kind of sitting at this, that rolling top, set in some support here, which is now potentially playing as resistance. We're setting on top of that, so we'll see if we get continuation off of the top of that, or if it falls back under. If it falls back under, then I think this might just turn into a lower high. Let's go ahead and jump back up into Bitcoin. I probably won't jump on too much other stuff today. Bitcoin was looking good into the end of the week. We got this kind of doji looking candle here, and then red on Sunday. And so Saturday was kind of an indecisive candle, and then Sunday looked like negative, obviously, red candle, and then back to a green candle here. So just kind of feeling out this range. If I'm looking at the horizontal, am I looking at the chart that no, not the chart I wanted to. So if I'm looking at the kind of top of where the majority of the volume of the support has been, I won't say volume because I don't have the VPVR on right now to indicate exactly where the volume was, but it looks like most of the volume was occurring kind of around here, at least where we're seeing some support and resistance, and we're setting above that right now. So if we can close above here and stay above here for a couple of days, I think that's going to look good for continuation. I did mention I think we would get that touch all the way up to 74, or excuse me, 74. And where was that high? The high was almost there, 73,800. So, I mean, I would call that close enough to get that touch. And then now we're just looking to see if we're going to actually get a breakthrough. If we get a breakthrough, then I think we'll get a play up to close to 80,000. I think if we do get above here again, I think we likely will break past this previous. This isn't the previous swing high, but it was one of the previous swing highs, and so I think we'll break above this swing high that was right here, and we'll probably get a test up into this range where we had the spring equinox calls that we were looking at that ultimately failed in the short term, but may actually end up playing out in the long term here. We still have the diagonal support here, so that's looking good. We're still setting above that. We did fall below it for a little while, but we got back above and sitting above that. So I'm just going to leave that line there for a little while. So not too much right now. If we get a break above here, and then that might be another opportunity to get into a position, unless we get a low here, which looks like this is going to be probably an inside bar unless we actually break above. So. Unless we get another low here, we're not going to get a 2-day swing low. But if you're looking at the 1-day swing indicator, then you could potentially take a position, just traditional Gann swing strategy when we break above here, looking for a potential pass of this swing high, and then maybe up into this range here. So, yep, that's all looking looking good there. I was just curious if we're going to see some kind of a head and shoulders thing. That would be very big shoulders there and a little tiny head. So that might be interesting in terms of like a short, potential short opportunity if we were going to break below this base here. And then looking at this right here, what I'm looking at is, I don't know if I have some good drawing tool here to kind of latch onto, because I don't normally draw just freehand on these things that much. A brush, here we go. And so what I'm looking at is this kind of thing here. I don't really like it that much, but I mean, I think because the head's not very big, but you know, some people might be calling that out if we drop back below the $70,000 range, and then ultimately get down to these lows. If we do, I think there's a good chance we break through, and then people might look at this later as a head and shoulders, and then we'd look at that at potentially being a short opportunity that we could take in the future if it goes that direction. So can I undo that? Yep. All right. So like I said, I'll kind of keep the chart short. I really just wanted to show the news brief stuff that I had going out and mention that again. I think that people will be more interested in that type of content and maybe actually building stuff. This week I had been talking in the group about building a grid type of indicator that would be plugged into the skeleton key. And so I think what I might do, because a lot of times what I have problems doing is finding time to build something, get it all polished up, and then put it in a video or something like that. And so usually what I end up doing is after I build something, then I come in and I'll just like give hey, this is how I built it. I think that's what a lot of people end up doing. Trying to kill two birds with one stone. What I might actually do on Wednesday's stream is build that indicator on stream. It might make for a very long video. I'm not expecting I'm not expecting the code to be that significant. So maybe like an hour or something like that. But that might be something fun to do just to see how that plays out. More of a long form video. I've seen people do live streams with those kind of things. I might do something like that in the future too. If anybody's interested in just like doing like live YouTube events with coding, where I do some Pine Script stuff or maybe some other stuff, then, you know, definitely paste that in the comments, because I would love to do that kind of stuff. The interactivity with the chat and that I think might be a lot of fun. And I think that might be better for engagement on YouTube as well. And again, it fits my niche a little bit better in terms of like what I'm very good at. So I think that might be a direction that I kind of take this, if you guys are interested in that kind of thing. But I look for that probably Wednesday. I'm going to go for that and see how that plays out. It won't be the chat inner type thing. It'll probably just be building something and then just pasting it out there and seeing how it goes. I think without editing those kind of things, they can be a challenge, because you don't want to end up doxing information that you don't want to be public when you're just like trying to actually code at the same time. There is some people doing videos with Claude Code, and I would probably use some AI in this context, but I've seen people doing those kind of videos and they just end up in a situation where they end up, Claude Code puts your email address right at the top. And so I've had people, you know, without editing, if you're just going to give everybody your email address, maybe that's not something you want to do. So with that said, we will catch you on the next one. Peace, Quants.